Gervonta Davis has two names standing between him and undefeated retirement, says Mike Tyson. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, the big homie, the OG of the heavyweight division, Mike Tyson. Iron Mike.
How you doing, cute little birdie? I want a cracker. What? They always want something. We haven't even slept together yet. You want something? What? Get off my show.
Gave his opinion on Gervonta Davis and whether he believes that Gervonta can actually retire undefeated. And I wanted to give my 2 cents on what Iron Mike had to say and break that down just a little bit. Alright, so Mike Tyson basically said that he feels like there are two names standing between Gervonta Davis and an undefeated retirement. And do I agree? Do I agree with that? Because the two names I think are obvious to everybody who he was speaking about. But do I think that Gervonta can actually retire undefeated? Now, this all depends on whether Gervonta is planning on retiring within the next year or two. If he's only got 2 fights and then he's immortalized in boxing history, why go on? Why not just fight those 2 fights and retire as one of the greatest? You know, I would have to disagree there because I feel like Gervonta Davis has at least 5, maybe even 8 more years of boxing, and that's millions upon millions of dollars he can possibly have saved up by that time. And he's definitely got the chance of being one of the greatest fighters ever. Now, how does he get there? What's the path to actually getting there? And does it just involve those 2 names? And those 2 names are obvious. Shakur Stevens and Devin Haney is who Iron Mike spoke about. And I don't feel like it's just Shakur Stevens and Devin Haney. Now, I know a lot of people like Frank Martin and some of the other younger guys at 135, but I think Tank's skills go far beyond 135 pounds. I think 140 could possibly be his peak, but if you believe in Tank like you believe that Iron Mike Tyson, then you can believe he could go all the way up to 147 pounds. This is a young guy we talking about. It's not like he's, you know, staring down his retirement or staring down old age. He has at least 5 more years. At least, I would say 8, but at least 5 more years. So, if Manny Pacquiao, being as small as he was never as chunky as Gervonta Davis is. You know, Gervonta's a short guy, but you know, a lot more chunky in the body. But that might be because he might be even shorter than Manny Pacquiao is now that I think about it. But I think his body could carry the weight of 147 pounds. But could he actually get in there and rumble with some welterweights is the real question. Now, 140, I think 140 is a great division for Gervonta Tank Davis. I think he really needs to be thinking about moving to 140 because, once again, the money's going to go up the further you go up in weight, and then the more you're going to get paid. So if it's all about money to him, I think that his career extends farther than 135. If it's just about, you know, dominating a single division, and I think that could get boring after a while, people are going to want to see you challenge yourself a little bit more. So I don't think even he wants to stay at 135 forever, you know, because eventually there's not going to be enough names there anyway for him to support sticking around and trying to make some real money off those fights. So I think eventually there's going to be a process of moving up.
15 with the triple beam, working the streets. The little soldier got a pride, now he bumping the beats, it's all good. Pass by, making it known. Hot boy, I see you with the chip phone. It's only too young. You used to be afraid to shoot this. Getting paid, I like it. When I was his age, I had the same kind of ways. And the rest get paid to keep a fresh pair of jeans on every feet. And it was something to ball, go to school, telling fools I ain't messing with y'all. I'm headed to the grind with a pocket full of dimes. I hope you got that iron and he got it on his mind, cause I hate a won't lie. Would you bless? It's your demand to share. So watch your back, little homie. The game is cold and most of us won't make it old.
Now, I think the process will be accelerated if Devin Haney moves up and decides not to stay at 135 after the Vasyl Lomachenko fight. So I think all of this is based basically off of Devin Haney. Now, those two fights could possibly take place within the next year. What if he beats both guys? Does he just simply retire after that? If you go off of what, a lot of people are saying, if he beats Shakur and he beats Devin, his name is cemented in boxing history forever. Well, what if he beats both of those guys, then moves up to 140 and fights Josh Taylor, and then loses to Josh Taylor? Is he still cemented in boxing history, or is that an asterisk by his name? I'm sure he would make a boatload of money from that, but, some people might say it's hard to make that fight because it's PBC and Bob Earl, but I beg to differ. I think Bob Earl is willing to put something on the line if the price is high enough. If the price is high enough, he's willing to do whatever to get the money. So I don't think it would be a situation of him not wanting to do it. I think it would be a situation of him wanting to be the A side and, them getting the bigger slice of the pie. It would be a lot of negotiating involved. And if Tank's not a champion going into that fight, I think he might have to play the B side in that. So, it is what it is. But, I think there's a real possibility of Gervonta moving beyond 135 without fighting Devin Haney or Shakur Stevens, based off the fact of I don't think there's a necessary need for him to fight Shakur Stevens. I think it's something people want to see. There's not a need for him to fight Shakur. He doesn't have any belts. He has no real credibility at 135 pounds yet. He's going to get some, but not yet. So if Devin beats Loma and then moves to 140 and doesn't fight Gervonta, what's the reason for him to stick around 135 pounds other than picking up the championship belts and then fighting Shakur or fighting Shakur for the vacated championship belts? But he's still not going to fight Devin Haney, and we all know that Devin Haney is the better of the two, technically, at this point, when it comes to him and Shakur, because he's the champion. Now, a lot of people think that Devin's better than Gervonta, but until those two guys who are the best of the best get it on, we can't say that. I know I want to put Shakur in that list too, but he's not proven yet. So I don't feel like it's just Shakur Stevens and Devin Haney that Gervonta Davis has to defeat to be cemented in history. I want him to fight both of those guys, but I don't even think that that's going to happen at 135. So I don't see retirement anytime soon for Gervonta Davis. More than likely, there's going to be some other good fights in between Shakur Stevens and Devin Haney. Whether those fights happen in the near future or 5 years from now, we just don't know. I know the Devin Haney situation is going to be really difficult to make, not because it's two different promotional companies, but because there is a serious A-side argument to be made for both guys. A serious A-side argument to be made for both guys, and both guys are going to want to be the A-side in that fight. But who do you put as the A-side when it comes to Gervonta and Devin? I wouldn't even... there wouldn't be an argument, I think, with Shakur, but with Devin and Gervonta, there's a huge discrepancy there. One's the champion, but one's ultra popular. So where do you go? It's almost like the Mayweather-Pacquiao situation. Pacquiao was ultra popular, and and everybody liked Pacquiao, so they felt like he should be the A side. But Floyd, he brought the money into the fight, I guess. I don't know. I think that's going to have a big bearing on whether Gervonta and Devin get it on or they don't get it on. until like 140 or beyond. And I think there's a better possibility of a Shakur fight with Gervonta, but I still don't see it happening at 135. I don't think it would be a politics thing. I just don't see it. I don't see it as being necessary for Gervonta to actually fight Shakur Stevens at this point. Devin Haney is the only fight he really needs at this point at 135 pounds. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Please subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, but you're more than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you want collabo, feel free to hit my Gmail. It is flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are mine.
If you're from the field, you know I'm fucking with you. If you're from Kentucky, you know I'm fucking with you. You ain't never heard of me, you wanna get familiar. Well, my nigga, let me paint a picture. 12 motherfuckers splitting 3 bedrooms. Dang, my nigga, let me get some leg room. Every single night we watch the 10 o'clock news. Young black man murdered over tennis shoes. Every year we move to a brand new hood. Had to fight a nigga just to make it understood. Bitch, I learned to fight from Wayne and your knuckle. First thing they taught me, nigga, swing if you touch it. Moved out of town when I turned 19. Seen $400 pounds of light green. Moved back home before I turned 20. I guess you could say that was the birth of Louis Keys. It was time to let these niggas know my name. Young Real introduced me to the game. He was rapping too big back in the day. When they had Daddy Yo and Hurricane, they was getting beats from Willie Will and Lil J. Can't forget Young Sirs, they did they thing. That motivated me to do the same, and I did it. Spit it so clean, they thought I came from a dentist. This is for my niggas with a chain gang sentence. When you make it home, I got some change and some bitches. No hook, but they still play it in the club. 7 grams of the loud, paid about a dub. Cause I know the plug and I know the outlet. Feel snapback I got ain't came out yet. Nigga, please listen to the game that I'm slinging. Tax time come around, I claim like I'm thinking. Ain't nothing worse than $1 million bitch that'll fuck for a purse. I need a nurse, I think I'm getting sicker. My nigga Dose came through with 2 bottles of liquor. This is for my nigga Moski and all the other real OGs.